501
Online, on your phone, and on air. This is Faith Talk 99.5, KDIS, Little Rock. He's just a regular guy with a cool job that God loves for some reason. Welcome to the Steve Marston Show, a daily journey in learning how to live more like Jesus, conversations with those that God is working through, and dad jokes. It's the most unique show you'll hear today. Now, here's Steve.
All right, welcome in. Thank you for joining us as we have made it finally to Friday. It was nut big tuck there for a little bit, but we are finally here. You can be a part of the program by calling us 888-901-5454, 888-901-5454. We would love to be able to connect with you. You can ask any kind of question you like, any kind of comments. We will look forward for you joining us that way. Of course, there's the live video stream that's up on every kind of platform you can imagine, and we are rolling with that as well. You can leave us a comment there. Producer Tommy is all over that, and we are set up and ready to go here. I got a little feedback that's on my end. Hang on. Let me get rid of it here. And there it goes away. No more feedback. So we are ready to get started. Adam Holtz is going to be here in a little while from pluggedin.com. We'll be talking about some of the movies and streaming shows that are out this weekend and getting ready for that big summer movie spectacular. All the blockbusters are going to be lined up this summer. So we'll get the skinny on that as well. But we get started today with something that happened in my personal life that I want to bring to you. And I really hope you understand my heart on this. I don't bring this up to think, oh, hey, what a great guy Steve is. Let's pat him on the back. I do this because if something happens with me, whether it's good, whether it's bad, I feel like it's going to be relatable because, like the Open says, I am just a regular guy that has this weird, cool job. To be able to speak to you every afternoon is just an honor. And part of that is being able to just let us know that we can all make it. And there are certain little things and signs that we can point to encourage one another and to say, hey, let's be on the lookout for this. And here's what I'm talking about. About this time yesterday, a friend of mine, she is a housewife, just a normal person. She's got 5 kids, and she does social media stuff. She just enjoys being able to make videos that make people smile. And one of her kind of content things is pulling stuff out of the Bible that most people don't know is there. And usually it's just fun, silly stuff that you would think, oh no, that's really in there. And that's kind of her whole point, is to be able to hopefully have somebody see a video and become intrigued and actually look up the passage that she's talking about. Now, yesterday she had a video that, well, it talked about some really adult content, and I can't even share what it is on the radio because it is that adult. And you think that stuff like that's in the Bible? Oh yeah, stuff like that's in the Bible. It was a passage in Ezekiel where God describes what he thinks of people, and in this case, nations, that forsake him and that don't continue to follow him as like in a marriage covenant. He looks at it as adultery, spiritual adultery. And he's very graphic in the terms that he uses. And so she, in a fun, creative way, read that passage and was kind of blushing through it. And that was the whole point, was to get some laughter, but to also point out, hey, this is what the Bible actually for real says. And she got some flack for it. Some people just tore into her about how that's not appropriate and how that she doesn't know what she's talking about and what she's doing. And I could tell that really hurt her feelings because that was the 100% opposite of what she was going for. She wasn't trying to offend anybody. She wasn't trying to make fun of the Bible or make the Bible say something that it didn't. All she was doing was quoting scripture and trying to do it in a lighthearted way, which is what I'm all about. That's what this program's all about. And so as I saw it, I thought to myself, well, she's going to learn that if you're going to put yourself out there, if you're going to have videos online, you got to expect some feedback. And most of it's going to be positive. Most of it is going to be people who said, wow, I never knew that was in there. And boy, you're so funny. And all of those compliments, you'll get 10 of those, but one person will be upset and one person will call you out on it. And you have to realize that that's going to happen. And that thought entered my mind and then kind of just left my mind. And I was starting to go about doing the rest of my work for the day. And then I realized, you know what? Maybe I need to get in contact with my friend and just give her a note of encouragement because, yes, she hadn't done anything wrong. In fact, she had been 100% vulnerable doing something, presenting the scripture in a way that most people don't. But again, it was the scripture. So I listened to that voice. I listened to that conviction, which I'm going to say was the Holy Spirit, because again, I had other things to do. That wasn't on my agenda. But I thought, okay, I'm going to take time and I'm going to send her a quick little message over Facebook, just between her and I. And I complimented her on it. And I said, you got to remember, if you're going to do this, you got to have thick skin. And then I gave maybe a little coaching session of how to maybe set it up and do it. Again, not that it would have changed the outcome, just maybe would have flowed a little better, just in my opinion. And she wrote back the sweetest note. She said, thank you so much. She said, I really feel like God laid that on your heart to speak to me because I really needed it, because you're so right. This person got me down and I was really hurt by it because, and again, she went on about how that's the last thing she wanted to do. And if you looked at the comments on her little video, again, they were 10-1 positive, but it's always that one negative that you stay with, that stays with you, and that you remember, that you play over in your head the next time you try to do something like that. So she said, I just got to thank you so much for doing that. You don't know how much that meant to me. And that humbled me. And the reason I bring this story up, the ultimate reason I want you to know this, is because we all have those opportunities every single day. Every single day, we have an opportunity to be able to speak into someone's life. And it can be as simple as a text. It could be, hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee, or whatever. It doesn't have to be earth-shaking or monumental, but you never know how those just kind of little acts of kindness, those just little taking a couple of minutes out of your day to speak to someone, to encourage someone, how it's going to change their trajectory of their day, maybe even their life. And again, I say this because there are so many times I blow right past it. And I hear that little conviction and I'll say, oh yeah, somebody ought to talk to her about that. And then I get busy, do something else. But actually yesterday I stopped. And yesterday I felt like I did what I was supposed to have done. And then her response back to me was confirmation of that. So whenever you feel that little something in your heart speaking to you, hey, you need to speak to that person. Hey, you need to send that person an email, maybe a phone call, maybe a text. Don't disregard it. Do it. Because the great Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, he said, you know who needs encouragement? Every person you come across. Everyone. It's good stuff. Back in a minute.
This is Alistair Begg. Consider this. What if your next trip wasn't just a vacation, but an opportunity to grow in your faith? This September, I have the privilege of teaching from God's Word aboard the Deeper Faith Norwegian Fjords cruise. And I'd love for you to join me. Together, we'll share in fellowship, lift our voices in worship, and learn from Scripture, all the time enjoying breathtaking views in what is a majestic part of the world. So please come along. Reserve your cabin now at deeperfaithcruise.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Don't miss cutting-edge coverage of daily news from an America First perspective on the Alex Marlow podcast on the Salem Podcast Network.
Everything I'm seeing from the public is that public does not like the idea of just pure welfare and charity being done for people who are able to work and are not willing to work. So able-bodied people have got to get back to work.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Need a good shot of your favorite pastor? Well, you can get him anywhere and everywhere at oneplace.com and the One Place app. If you missed the daily dose of encouragement you need, find it there. If you want to hear that great sermon one more time, it's all there. We don't encourage you to leave this station, not ever. But when you want to repeat, you know where to go. OnePlace.com and the One Place app. No matter what happens, we're always on.
If you'd like a smartphone that's really smart, download the OnePlace.com app, the app that will inspire your faith daily and provide answers to the biggest questions of all. OnePlace lets you download your favorite pastor's programs and listen, even offline or in airplane mode, with easy connections to your Bluetooth speaker or dashboard. To download your free OnePlace app, visit the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store for your Android device and search for OnePlace. That's OnePlace.
Learning to live out your faith. And a few dad jokes, too. Welcome back to the Steve Marston Show.
Yeah, thanks so much for your time today. We really are grateful that you are here with us. And one of the things we're really excited about this month is our ministry of the month that we are teamed up with our friends at A New Beginning with Pastor Greg Laurie. You listen to New Beginning every day on AM 630, The Word in San Antonio at 12 o'clock, and then at 10 a.m. every day on Faith Talk 99.5 in Little Rock. And we're giving away copies, multiple copies in each market of this book. Oh, look, it's producer Tommy get a tight shot. I love that. See, he's worth every nickel we're paying him. The book is called Lennon, Dylan, Alice, and Jesus, the spiritual biography of rock and roll. And we're going to give it to you just for free. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute, the spiritual biography of rock and roll and those guys, what? I know Greg Laurie, if you don't know about him, he was a hippie. I mean, he says that himself. He grew up in California in the 50s and was a teenager in the 60s and was a part of the Jesus Revolution. In fact, that movie Jesus Revolution is based on his life. And he gave his life to Jesus during that time and has been a preacher of the gospel ever since. But again, still has those kind of hippie roots. And he's written this book. And again, it's kind of out of the box, but it's really, really is good stuff. In fact, we're going to be giving away, I think, 3 copies in each market. So the way you get signed up is you go to the website, am630theword.com there in San Antonio or surrounding areas. Look for the banner and sign up. Ditto for those of you in Central Arkansas. Just go to faithtalk995.com, look for the banner and sign up. And we'll be letting you know who's winning and get these books out to you as soon as possible. But we are so thankful for Greg Laurie and his leadership and his partnership with our radio stations, and looking forward to getting this book into your hands. Every every week, we like to go through the Babylon Bee. It's a weekly review of some of the stories that are in the Bee, because Fridays are fun around here, and we like to crank it up to 11. And if you know that reference, yeah, we're going to be friends. And we like to be able to bring it to you and just kind of show you the satire, the lightheartedness, because that's what the Babylon Bee really is based about. I'm sure they do some political stuff. A lot of times it's biblical things, and it's just kind of poking fun, some satire, and I just love it. And I wish I would have thought of it sooner, because, I am a smart aleck by nature, and I missed out on that. So the next best thing is to be able to go through it in review. So here we go. Producer Tommy, some appropriate music for us here. Now, this needs a little setup, because Donald Trump has brought back something as president that has been kind of put on the shelf, and that was the presidential fitness test. If you're as old as I am, you remember Arnold Schwarzenegger was like the President Bush, I think, physical fitness, like ambassador, a czar, and he came up with a fitness test. Well, earlier this week, Donald Trump said he's reinstalling the presidential fitness test. To prepare the nation's youth, the White House has released the following list of updated physical challenges. Are you ready for these? All right, here we go. Number 1, bullet dodging. It's an essential skill for the modern era, especially if you aspire to run for office as a Republican. Ouch, babe. Number 2, the alternating YMCA double fist pump. Kids learn this exercise and the greatest dance ever invented all at the same time. Well, that's helpful. That's good. Number 3 on the list from the Babylon Bee of added things to the president's physical fitness challenge is the Strait of Hormuz swim. Extra credit for anyone who finds a mine. Number 4, Big Mac curls. 1 7.6 ounce Big Mac in each hand. Consuming them during the workout is a great source of protein. Well, of course it is. Big Macs. Never understood the Big Mac, why you need the third bun. I know that separates it from everything else, and I guess that was a marketing plea, or a ploy, but I'm not sure exactly the whole reason for that. I could have done completely without it, but again, it wouldn't be a Big Mac without that bun. So maybe they know more than I do. All right, let's continue here on the list from the Babylon Bee of the 10 things that were added to the president's recent physical fitness test for our nation's youths. The number 5 is weighted thumb sketches. Having strong thumbs is vital, both for thumbs up and photo ops, and being quick to make slick burns with late night social media posts later in life. There you go. It's all about the social media posts for sure. All right, let's continue on. Number 6 here on the president's physical fitness test that was just added, according to the Babylon Bee. Catch the immigrant. The ICE-inspired exercise will see kids attempt to chase down and subdue delinquent MS-13 gang members. What in the world could go wrong with that? Nothing. Number 7 is wrestling RFK Jr. Each child will be required to survive 3 minutes in the ring with the Health and Human Services Secretary. Well, he's buff. The other day, he was in the airport or someplace, just jumped up on and started doing chin-ups like a madman. And he's 90 years old or whatever. He doesn't look it, but he's amazing. Number 8 on the Babylon Bee list is hitting the green with a 50-yard bunker shot. There's no greater test of physical and mental excellence. Number 9 on the list of the presidential physical fitness updates by the Babylon Bee is the Mitch McConnell deadlift. Now, Mitch McConnell is the longest tenured Republican. It says, don't worry, kids. He'll hold strangely still the entire time you try to deadlift him. All right. Well, just be warned in case he doesn't. And then number 10, and not a moment too soon, wrapping up the Babylon Bees look at the new updates for the presidential physical fitness test for America's youth. Mandatory winning. No failing is allowed. Losers will be deported. That will get people. You talk about the Hunger Games. There you go. That's what it is. Judging by the looks of this test, American kids will be fit in no time. The fittest in the world, the greatest. I mean, really big. All right, that's the Babylon Bee update for this week. We'll have more for you coming up. It's the Steve Marston Show on a Friday. Don't move.
I talk to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
You know your business inside and out, but does your community? With Salem Media's podcast and video production services, you can share your expertise and connect with customers on their commute or wherever they listen. We handle production and distribution, so your content reaches the right ears on multiple podcast platforms. Stop letting competitors own the conversation. Call Salem Media today and ask about our local business podcast packages. Call Chris at 210-526-3631. 210-526-3631.
The good news of the gospel is a bill we could not pay has been paid.
Dr. Tony Evans, laying out the problem of the human condition and the only genuine solution.
That is the good news of God's divine provision. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us.
Powerful insights on finding faith during fear. This week on The Alternative with Dr. Tony Evans.
In a world where more and more people decide what's right and wrong based on how they feel, what happens when feelings become the only moral standard? If emotions alone define truth, then who decides why murder, theft, or violence are wrong? And if someone feels justified in destroying property or harming others, on what basis can society say they're wrong? For 50 years, Dennis Prager has challenged audiences around the world to think deeply about the moral foundations of civilization. In his new book, If There Is No God, he confronts the biggest questions of human existence. Why does evil go unpunished? Why do innocent people suffer? And can morality survive without God? Whether a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, this book offers serious answers for a morally confused age. Clear, provocative, and accessible. If There Is No God by Dennis Prager. Available now at pragerstore.com. That's pragerstore.com.
People Lawrence, faith and fun. The Steve Marston Show is back.
All right, welcome back. It is the Steve Marston Show. We are live today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and viewing as well. We are on several great platforms as far as streaming goes, and of course, 2 amazing radio stations in San Antonio and in Little Rock. And we would love for you to call us 888-901-5454, 888-901-5454 is the number to call as we move along through the program here. We're expected to be joined by our buddy Adam Holtz here momentarily. He is joining us now. All right, awesome. Adam, hey, welcome back to the program, my man.
Hello.
Hey, how's everything?
It's good. How are you doing? I'm trying to figure out why my camera's not on.
Yeah, it's okay. We're still on audio.
Everything is good. So we'll just talk while I like pretend that it's COVID and I can't turn my camera on.
Sure.
Usually it
Hey,
was the other problem. Your camera would be on, but you would be muted. But
yeah, exactly. And how many times did you have to go through that? Hey,
several.
Joni, your mic is muted. Because they're in the middle of a big rant. You can tell their
Exactly.
arms are moving, their mouths are moving, but no voice.
Exactly. So several times. For the life of me, I don't know why my camera's not on.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. No worries.
All right. Well, you can just
continue.
imagine a normal, not ugly, not beautiful, middle-aged white guy, and there I am, the kind that you would not notice on the street ever.
There you go.
I tell my children, it's good to be in the middle because you don't want to be mocked and you don't want to be worshipped. You just want to be affably forgettable, and that's how I would describe myself.
There you go. You just want to kind of blend in most of the time. I'm with you.
I just want to blend in. That's exactly right. I'm annoyed that the camera's not working though. What in the world?
Oh, it's not a problem. So let's get to talking about movies because you are the director, or at least the spokesperson now. You've kind of moved roles in the pluggedin.com universe up there. And it's a ministry of focus on the family. And you guys do an amazing job of breaking down streaming shows, movies, books, video games, everything that would be entertainment. You guys kind of give a really thorough going through with a fine-tooth comb, and it's amazing. So let's start with some new movies that are coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
And one of them I've heard a lot about. I haven't really heard whether it's good or not, but I've heard about The Sheep Detectives. Let's talk about that.
This is a mostly fun movie, and I'll put an asterisk beside mostly, and I will come back to that. So this is a movie about a farmer, and the farmer's name is George, and George is played by Hugh Jackman. Hugh's had kind of a rough go, and at times he can be a little bit salty and a little bit critical of the church. And now I can't hear you either. Are you talking?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Your mouth was moving, but I didn't hear anything. I thought I was in a Japanese movie there for just a moment. So he's had a rough go. He's a little bit rough around the edges, but he loves his sheep. He takes care of them. He shears them. He feeds them. And at night, he even reads murder mysteries to them. And they sit around and look at him and go, like sheep are wont to do. And what he doesn't know is that when he goes to bed, the sheep start talking to each other because they can understand every word that he says. And they like mysteries. So when he turns up dead and the local police say, oh, it was probably a heart attack, they're like, we don't think so. We think there was foul play involved. And so they are determined to solve the mystery of poor George's murder. Other than the fact that there's a murder at the center of the story and a little bit of attitude toward Christianity, this is a really fun movie. And I think a really nice movie. And it's a PG movie, right? And we don't get very many of those these days. So I think you could talk about with kids, if you ended up going with them, you could talk about outsiders because they tend to favor sheep that are born one time of the year and not another time of the year. And so there's sort of these themes of, are you in, are you out? Those are some of the themes that are going on here, but it's a nice little movie. So there you go.
That's great.
Yeah, the Sheep Detectives.
We need more of those. We need more of those nice little movies that will fulfill that, that just entertainment void, to be able to have a little escapism without having to worry about all the other negative stuff that's usually packed into these movies. This is what we need.
This is what we need. And there's a little bit here that you could navigate if you wanted to, but it's not overwhelming and it's not terribly in your face. So I think that I think you can enjoy it and just talk about the things where there may be those criticisms. And, if you're really brave as a parent, you can ask your kids, what do you think of church? Do you
Yeah.
enjoy going? And you'll probably get one word answers to start with. But I think actually our kids want to talk about their experience of church. And if you give them an honest invitation to do that, I think they'll actually tell you exactly what they think. And it might surprise you. It might be that they're getting things out of it that you never even had any idea. They may have criticisms or experiences that you may not have any idea. But either way, you're having a great conversation.
So true. Adam Holtz is our guest here on the Steve Marston Show. He's with pluggedin.com. That is part of the Focus on the Family ministry. We're so thankful to be teamed with them, and we bring Adam on every week to talk about all things entertainment. And we always talk about that you guys cover music and concerts and different things, as well as the movies and the books. So let's talk a little bit about a brand new, I think this is on streaming. It's Netflix, I think. Billie Eilish's latest concert.
Yeah, Billie Eilish has done a concert movie. Actually, it's in theaters. It's not just on Netflix. It is in theaters. It's a Paramount movie. Here's what's interesting. This thing happened because James Cameron, yes, that James Cameron, he of Aliens, Titanic, and Avatar fame, went to her and said, "Hey, I want to do a concert movie of your tour." So is this the Titanic or the Avatar of concert movies? I don't know, but it's well done. It's visually engaging. As the movie progresses, it's about 3-to-1 performance to behind the scenes conversations. You know exactly what to expect if you've ever seen a concert movie. I don't think James Cameron breaks any new ground here with regard to the genre. Obviously, Billie Eilish's music has some problems. I think some of the more interesting stuff is she's pretty candid about her struggle with being sexualized as a pop singer, and sort of how she's vacillated back and forth between a sexy image and wearing baggy clothes because she didn't want the sexy image to define her. And I think it's interesting. There's something worth talking about here.
And see, I wish someone would break that genre mold, because we all know about the performances. I would love to see the more behind the scenes stuff, because the road is a grind for anyone, no matter how famous you are. And to be able to have an artist be willing to do that and be willing to be seen, maybe not in their best moments, but to bring kind of that real slice of life, I think would be a blockbuster.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there have been other attempts to do that. I mean, I've done a bunch of these. I did the Katy Perry movie. I think I did a Justin Bieber movie. I did the U2 movie. We've had Taylor Swift more recently with her special. Beyonce did one. It's a mix because people want that behind the scenes stuff, but they're famous because they're singers, right? And so you want to see the performance, and maybe you want to see it from their perspective. Some of the Taylor Swift footage of what it would be like to be on a stage with 85,000 people surrounding you is pretty remarkable. So
it really was. I did enjoy that Taylor Swift movie, probably more so than any other music documentary that I've seen in a while, or at least concert movie. Let's talk about this too. Because this was May 4th was earlier this week. So it's May the 4th be with you. I thought you guys did an amazing thing. And
we did.
It went back and you put the pluggedin.com Star Wars movies to the test and broke them all down, the original trilogy. And it's fabulous to go back and read all about these movies, even though people, especially our age, know everything about them. It's cool to go back and see what you guys had to see and give it the pluggedin.com treatment.
Yeah, we gave it the treatment, right? And the thing is, the Force has been with us so long, it has become a plot device and a thing, if I can be that non-specific, that we just kind of know about, right? We kind of know about the Force. And in the prequel trilogy, we got these things called midichlorians, and like nobody wanted to know anything about midichlorians, right? Don't overcomplicate it, George. Thanks so much, but no. Just say no to midichlorians. But there's still spiritual things to be examined here. And George Lucas very deliberately drew on Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero's Journey, to try to craft what he would describe as an American archetype or an American mythology. I mean, he was very deliberate in what he was trying to do, and he drew from all sorts of sources. He drew from, a Japanese filmmaker, Kurosawa. He drew from Flash Gordon. He drew from the Bible. He drew from Hinduism, and then he mushed it all up together. And then he did things that had never been done on film before too. And so it was a watershed moment in our culture. And right up to the moment that it was released, the studio had no idea if it was going to flame out horribly or be a hit. Although I think by the time it actually opened, it started to become clear, oh, this is actually going to be pretty cool and pretty big. And George Lucas tapped into something that was kind of an archetype, I think, with the original trilogy anyway.
Mhm.
So we had obviously May the 4th, and then the day after, is called Revenge of the 5th. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right. You're
Yeah,
right.
Revenge of the 5th.
Star Wars nerding out here. That's
I
right.
know. And
And one of
next year will be the 50th anniversary. It'll be interesting to see what they do for the 50th,
It
which
really
makes me
will.
feel crazy old.
Well, because see, for me, I'm a little bit young for the first one, but I had all the same feels, the same thing everybody experienced when I was 6 years old, 7 years old, when I went into the theater and saw Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
All of that came running forth, and I was stunned and mesmerized and
Oh,
intrigued
exactly.
and all of that stuff. And
I
it was just
will never
something you'd never
forget.
seen before.
I will never forget the opening scene in Star Wars where, Darth Vader's Star Destroyer is chasing Princess Leia's ship, the Tantive 4, a rebel blockade runner made on the planet Corellia, if you need to know, because I do know. That was the watershed moment for my, young movie going life. But to me, to this day, it's there's before Star Wars and after Star Wars. Nothing was ever quite the same again afterward. And it became a template for the modern blockbuster in a way that's still with us. I mean, even the Star Wars people are trying to replicate what Star Wars was, and we'll have Mandalorian and Grogu here in a couple weeks to kick around. And that's probably what we're going to do because it doesn't seem to be generating very much interest thus far. But it's still with us 50 years later because George Lucas ultimately crafted a creative, resonant story that tapped into so many different things that all of us have experienced.
Yeah, and I think the thing that was genius about it was, yes, it was the science fiction, and yes, you had the lightsabers and the guns and the chase scenes and all that, but it really was a human story.
Totally.
It really got down to that, and that's what made it so wonderful and why people resonated, I think, so much with it is because
Absolutely.
yeah, it's the sci-fi stuff, which is the cool stuff, but yet it was relatable. It wasn't some aliens doing things that we have no idea as humans about. It was a very human story.
Yeah, it was. My son and I watched it Monday night, actually, and I hadn't seen it for a little while, actually. We watched episode 4, Star Wars. Not episode 4. It's just Star Wars, man.
There you go.
It's not A New Hope. And it holds up as far as I'm concerned.
Me too. It's been a minute since I've seen it as well, but I do. I think it holds up really, really well. Okay, let's get one more. We've got less than about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
Let's talk about Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
That's coming to theaters as well.
It is. And again, talk about franchises. The original video game came out in 1992. It was wildly graphically violent. It was the thing that led to the creation of video game ratings. So, parents hated it. In retrospect, it feels less violent now than perhaps it did then. But here we have a guy who gets transported to a planet to do battle with other like mixed martial artsy kind of guys on behalf of humanity. And if he loses, Earth gets subjugated forever. There's plenty of violence and even more profanity in this hard R action movie. But it's Carl Urban. I mean, I don't want to throw Carl under the bus too hard because I like the guy, but maybe, I don't know, pick a different Carl Urban movie. Go watch Lord of the Rings or something, right?
There you go. There you go. I mean, I always was just amazed when I heard the first one come out. They're actually making a movie about a video game.
I know. It's crazy.
Adam,
It's
thanks
crazy.
so much for being a part of the show. As always, tell everybody how they can connect with Plugged In.
You can come to pluggedin.com, and we are a ministry of Focus on the Family.
Absolutely. And it's totally amazing. And you need to bookmark it because it's constantly updated with constant new stuff that's for you and your family, and you can make your own decision about it. Adam, always fun, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Steve.
All right. Thanks so much. Yeah. I can't believe I was there in 1992 when the whole Mortal Kombat thing went out. I was a senior in high school and everybody was losing their minds over it. And now they're making a movie about it. I thought, yes, now we get the sequel. Unbelievable. All right. We've got one more break to take and we'll be, oh no, I'm sorry. We got two more segments. Holy cow. We got plenty of time. Stay with us.
When someone nearby searches for what you offer, are they finding you or your competitor? Salem Media owns Local Search. Call 501-404-6535 and take your turf back. That's 501-404-6535 to own the neighborhood.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In a world where more and more people decide what's right and wrong based on how they feel, what happens when feelings become the only moral standard? If emotions alone define truth, then who decides why murder, theft, or violence are wrong? And if someone feels justified in destroying property or harming others, on what basis can society say they're wrong? For 50 years, Dennis Prager has challenged audiences around the world to think deeply about the moral foundations of civilization. In his new book, If There Is No God, he confronts the biggest questions of human existence. Why does evil go unpunished? Why do innocent people suffer? And can morality survive without God? Whether a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, this book offers serious answers for a morally confused age. Clear, provocative, and accessible. If There Is No God by Dennis Prager. Available now at PragerStore.com. That's PragerStore.com. Don't miss cutting-edge coverage of daily news from an America First perspective on the Alex Marlowe podcast on the Salem Podcast Network.
Everything I'm seeing from the public is that public does not like the idea of just pure welfare and charity being done for people who are able to work and are not willing to work. So able-bodied people have got to get back to work.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Over a year ago, Dr. Tony Evans stepped away from his daily program. Now he's returning, and we're bringing him back to Faith Talk 99.5 in his old time slot. Listen to The Alternative, weekday mornings at 9:30 on Faith Talk 99.5. Here at the Steve Marston Show, we are serious about faith, but we love a good dad joke, too.
Why'd you let him make it past the goal?
Because he's my friend.
But he's on the other team.
I know.
Okay, so this happens sometimes. This happens sometimes. You call for a specific piece of audio or video, and the signals get crossways, and you play the wrong one. So that was the best video of the day that we had. It's the little girl playing soccer. No worries. We'll get to dad joke coming up next segment. It'll be fine. Nobody's upset. Nobody's mad. We just had a little cross communication there. But that was pretty sweet. The little girl letting the little boy on the other team score. Not sure you're going to, win a lot of games doing that, but, it's good sportsmanship. It's nice. Preschoolers, you make sure they, they love the game and they're nice out on the court and pitch and be able to have good sportsmanship. That's what it's all about, right? At that age. Sure it is. Okay. So let's move on. I came across this from yesterday. I talked a little bit about it. I still haven't been able to watch or listen to the podcast, but I'm so excited about seeing Lecrae's latest podcast. Now, Lecrae is a Christian music, hip hop artist, rapper, and he's just the best. And I love his podcast because he's so authentic and he's so real, and he will talk about subjects with people that more than likely they won't talk about with anybody else. He just has that way. And he has a guy on called God Logic. This guy is a Christian apologist as well. And the podcast is over an hour long, but I wanted to bring you this little teaser clip that they had, because I thought this was so good. We talk about apologetics a lot here on the program, and talking about the need for us to know the why behind our faith, and not just what we believe, but the why. And God Logic does a phenomenal job here in a little mock debate with Lecrae on Lecrae's podcast. Let's watch this. This is good.
I am going to be your TikTok devil's advocate. And I'm going to see if you can stump me. All right. If God is all powerful, then he should be able to stop suffering. Either he's not powerful, not good, or he doesn't exist.
Where are you getting your definition of good?
What's good for humanity?
Why is what's good for humanity good?
Peace.
Why is that good?
We exist better when things are peaceful.
But why is existing better good?
When there's harmony and there's peace. I mean,
yeah, but why is that good?
It's objectively just better.
When you say objective, that means that it goes beyond just your human opinion, anybody else's opinion. That objectively, universally, this is what is good.
Sure.
What are you basing that on?
The way that we interact as humans.
Okay, that's fine, but you're still not telling me what gives you that is good. What's your standard? That's just an opinion.
The standard is it's a feeling. It's
okay. So you just feel like. So if I feel like chaos and mayhem is what's good,
sure.
Am I wrong?
But for our collective whole, that doesn't benefit everyone.
Who says what's beneficial to mankind is morally good? Who says that? You?
We do collectively, I guess, as humans.
So if I get another collective of humans that say that chaos and mayhem is what is good and beneficial, then
they won't last very long.
So what? Are we wrong?
Did Lecrae just get cooked by God?
I love that. It's really good because God Logic just stayed the course to find out where the ultimate source of good comes from. Because if there is a good, then that means there is an evil. And that means there's something higher and stronger than we are. And it's a wonderful point for all of us to know. And I can't wait to see the rest of that podcast. And we'll bring you probably some more clips from it on Monday after the weekend. Here's something that's kind of interesting that's in the news. The show House of David that's on Prime Video. It's been a wild success. They kind of go through the life story of David, and I think they've wrapped up season 2 already. I don't think season 2 has been released yet, but they're expanding on it. Well, something that kind of tides you over is going to be a 3-part companion special. It's called The Old Story Moses. So it's going to tell Moses' story over a 3-episode arc. And what's cool about it is it stars Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley, if you'll remember way back in the day, he played like Gandhi, and now he's playing Moses. So that's kind of cool. We'll see how that one takes place. It's also going to be on Prime Video, but it's a Wonder Project subscription. Some of these movie things have subscriptions you got to join and whatever. So it's not just on Prime Video. You have to become a member of this Wonder Project subscription in order to see the Ben Kingsley series about Moses. This is crazy. This just makes me laugh. This happened in Florida. A pastor who wrote a book on marriage, okay, how to have a better, stronger, healthier marriage, That pastor has recently been arrested for illegally marrying a second wife. He was busted for polygamy. It's not legal, kids. You just can't have more than one wife, which, by the way, I don't know why you would want more than one wife. And I don't mean that derogatory. I just don't know how you would be able to make it work. God knew what he was doing when he said, just do 1 and 1. Don't worry about multiples. 1 and 1 will be plenty. What else is going on here? There was another pastor, and this was actually more serious of a story. In Ireland, he was fined for preaching too close to an abortion clinic. Now, the crazy part of the story is this guy was preaching several hundred feet away from an abortion clinic and was just evangelizing. He didn't mention the word abortion one time, and yet the police were called on him. And more than that, he was arrested and he was charged with like $600 or $700 fine for doing that, for just speaking and not even speaking out against abortion. Just crazy. I know it's Ireland. I know maybe they don't have the greatest religious freedom in the world, but man, that's terrible. Hated to hear that one. And then, and this is, I don't even know if I want to even bring this one up, but Paula White, I don't care for her too much. She's the president's, faith guru or whatever in the White House. And she said it has just been an absolute hellhounding and a faith fight doing her job at the White House. She just encounters so much resistance with the president. And I'm sure that's true. I know that's true, but it's just hard to hear coming from her because I don't know. I think I'll just keep my mouth shut on the rest of that because nothing good can happen from that. Okay, let's slide away for our final break. We'll come back with the dad joke of the day next. It's the Steve Marston Show. Stay put.
You're stuck on the side of the highway. What do? Well, I'll tell you, the first thing you should do to get off the side of the highway is to call East End Towing. I mean, they're part of the Arkansas Tow and Recovery Board. They're licensed. They're insured. I use them all the time. Whenever I need some help, I give them a call. Here's the number I use, 501-888-8849. That's 501-888-8849. Anything, anytime, anywhere, East End Towing.
President Trump has triggered a $200 billion tech disruption, and Wall Street is asleep at the switch. This $200 billion investment in chip technology could make today's artificial intelligence chips obsolete. Technology that will make today's AI data centers a thing of the past, like IBM's old mainframes. While most investors are focused on old-fashioned AI, there are 3 companies quietly building a $1 trillion triangle that could transform every tech sector on Earth. These 3 companies are gearing up to develop and manufacture supercomputers the size of a dinner plate. Institutions like Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street are pouring more than $200 billion into this AI revolution. Investment guru George Gilder has been predicting tech revolutions for more than 40 years, including the iPhone, Netflix, and Amazon. Now he's got his finger on 3 companies whose technology will change tech forever. Log on to TrillionDollarTriangle.com to find out which 3 companies are working on what could be the biggest tech disruption since the internet. TrillionDollarTriangle.com. That's TrillionDollarTriangle.com.
This is Alistair Begg, inviting you to join me on a vacation you'll long remember, the Deeper Faith Norwegian Fjords Cruise. I have the privilege of teaching from the Bible on a 7-day adventure through what is an extraordinary part of the world, one that testifies to our Creator's majesty. We'll set out from Amsterdam on September 5th, and throughout our time together, we'll learn from the scriptures. So I hope you'll come along. Book your ticket online at deeperfaithcruise.com. Again, visit deeperfaithcruise.com.
Calculate how much screen time occupies your day, and you could be shocked at how much family time you're losing. That's why Focus on the Family has set aside a critical program you can listen to again. It features 40-year TV veteran David Murrow talking about the negative effects from overuse of technology. He'll offer great practical advice for parents. To listen to this special program, text FOCUS to 94878. That's FOCUS to 94878.
If you'd like a smartphone that's really smart, download the OnePlace.com app, the app that will inspire your faith daily and provide answers to the biggest questions of all. OnePlace lets you download your favorite pastor's programs and listen, even offline or in airplane mode. with easy connections to your Bluetooth speaker or dashboard. To download your free OnePlace app, visit the iTunes App Store or the Google Play Store for your Android device and search for OnePlace. That's OnePlace.
Here at the Steve Marston Show, we are serious about faith, but we love a good dad joke, too.
How many optometrists does it take to change a light bulb? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? You have to have had your eyes examined to get that one.
Hey, a little celebrity in the house. That's Clint Black, country music icon. Love that guy. Celebrity dad joke there. Where are you going to get that on any other radio program? Am I right? Yeah. Welcome back. It's the Steve Marston Show. You can call us at 888-901-5454 is the number. 888-901-5454. We'd love to chat with you. And speaking of chatting, we are streaming live on the old video streams, 5 or 6 or 8 of them. You could drop us a comment. We've had a lot of people checking in today. And, you know, we talk about the questions you can ask are, you know, there's no limit. You can talk about the serious, spiritual, biblical stuff or the crazy, off the wall, whatever. So from someone with the handle of Raid the Fairy, he said, here's a hypothetical for you. If Kim Jong-un was about to nuke us and Trump called on you to give up, and I want to say he means your home, but he says your holes, but your home for a night, Kim Jong-un's pleasure to save the country, what would you do? Okay, so the scenario is there's nuclear bombs coming this way unless Kim Jong-un can come and hang at the Marston residence. Well, okay, bring him on. I would love to meet the little general. You know, it'd be great. In fact, one of my greatest, I got time to tell this story. One of my greatest radio bits I ever did was years ago, North Korea said they were going to bomb a bunch of places in America, and one of them was Hot Springs, Arkansas. You guys remember that? And everybody was freaking out. Why Hot Springs? And so I got on the radio and I made a phone call to Kim Jong-un, which was actually our promotions director, and he played the part of it. And the gist of the bit was he was going to blow up Hot Springs because he was mad that he lost at the racetrack there in Hot Springs. And I thought it was radio gold. The general manager made me take it down after airing it. So there's my little Kim Jong-un story. Okay. Before we wrap up here, I want to tell you about Monday. We're going to have one of my favorites. He's a pastor and he's an author. His name is Scott Stewart. He's going to join us. He's written a brand new book that I am in the middle of reading right now. It's called 37, Discovering the Mystery of the Gospel and the Miracles of Jesus. It's a fascinating book, and it's not kind of your entry-level book. It's your kind of real kind of deep dive. I'm really, really excited about that. That's coming up on the Steve Marston Show on Monday. So I hope you'll make your plans to be with us. That's going to be a fun and interesting conversation with him. Okay, we are finished for the week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you to Adam Holtz for being a part of the festivities. Producer Tommy, another excellent job out of you as well. Have a tremendous weekend. Hug, kiss your mom, text her, tell her you love her. And we'll get back together at 3 o'clock on Monday. Till then, adios.
What if your faith could grow wherever you go? With the Faith Talk 99.5 app, it can. Listen live, anytime, anywhere. Hear the best local and national Bible teachers opening God's Word with clarity, conviction,